See if I can't get a little napping in before the kids get here from the bus. So this was the piece of stone we left off with. It was the rough little nodule that we kind of fixed and corrected. So we want to try to make a dart point or something out of this. This rock was doing really well with the indirect. I think we're at a stage now where the big indirect will work just fine on it. Just need to figure out, I'm going to kind of try to make this my tip and this my base. It gives me a lot of room to work in from the sides to thin. Figure out where I can start shooting in on this rock a little bit. I can run this. This ridge right here is pretty strong. Give it a whack. I think what I want to do is try to lower this edge. I want to get it somewhere else. You know, one of the mistakes that I made when I first started napping, I didn't have anybody to sit down and nap with. I was just watching YouTube videos. I watched Jack Crafty was the one I watched the most, but you know, I heard everybody talking about these platforms and things, and I pretty much thought every low spot or every spot below center line, you know, little deltas and things were platforms that I could hit on. But what you really need to do is find a low spot that you can drive into mass. You need a hump or a little bit of thickness back there to drive into to peel off. If there's nothing there, you won't remove anything. You're just going to mess your rock up. So I'm going to set it up. Oops. I'm going to set it up on the platform. I'm not on the edge. I'm going to be up on the platform a little bit. Braced up, got my back of my hand against the rock so it doesn't have anywhere to go. So you need to be driving stuff at least halfway across to be thinning it. So there we go. We'll remove that mass right there. Kind of a little short flake right here. I want to run it into that flake that I just took off, so I don't have to run it but that far, so I don't need to hit it too hard. I'm going to grind it. It went in there and spread out a lot further than I was anticipating. It kind of created a little hinge in there. There may be a crack in that rock right there that created that effect right there. It kind of has me worried a little bit, but we'll see what happens. There's some mass up in here I can hit into. Might want to bring this up. It's a pretty steep slope right there. I don't know if you can see it in the video. It's pretty steep, but I think it'll work. I never could figure out however these guys were getting these big flakes to run, and it has everything to do with butting that rock up against your hand where that rock has no place to go and getting the rock absolutely locked up so that it gets all that energy transferred. removed all that mass. So we're thinning it down a little bit at a time. Getting it thinner. I'm gonna take this little knot off right here. I don't need to go very far at all. Just a little knot. So now my thickness is in here. I've kind of planed all this out back here running that series of flakes. I've got a little thickness up in here. A little bit of a screwy place to be hitting platform wise. Taking it off of that tip, so now we're getting that pretty flat. We got a little bit of mass back here, but I've still got just a tiny bit of that square edge that I don't like. We can't tap that off. Kind of got a little bit of a ridge right there. But I don't need to drive it very far, so I don't really need all this power. I don't think. Try the other end of the tool. This end of the tool is a lot less. It's a lot less shocky when I hit plastic on plastic. Little pieces. Get too crazy, it's going to be the tip of my point. Got kind of this hump out here in the middle. I need to find a way to get to it, and probably the best way is going to be to raise this edge up and shoot across here. I had that one big flake come across here. I do have a platform here, but I think it's going to get to about here and stall out. Give it a little shot. Even if it doesn't go all the way across, it's not going to hurt us. No, it doesn't do something bad, we're all right. All right, crushed on me. Thought I had that one pretty good. You take the little bopper and kind of trim down the edge there. Even though I ground it, that edge wasn't good enough. Not really liking that. It kind of swoops up. It's not really a good platform to carry the shock of the rock. It's going to kind of just stall out right there on the edge. So we're going to abandon that. And again, you know, got a piece of rock that's giving you, got an area on it that's giving you problems, and you can't figure out how to solve that problem, Move somewhere to something that you can solve. Don't sit there and keep beating on something that you can't figure out, because that's what's going to ruin your rock for you. And that drove into that mass that I was wanting. Getting flatter. Keep getting flatter. Damn it. Got a little funkiness back here I'm going to get rid of. See, I set my tip on there and the head just crushed underneath the tip, and even though I ground it earlier. Crushed again. There's that low lip. It ought to run and shoot. I've kind of got it chattered up, and it ain't liking that a whole lot. That chatter's causing me problems, so we'll just take this little bopper. We got a lot of width there, and we'll just knock all that chatter out. And then we really drop that platform down low. And grind it really good. Tired of screwing with that spot. This spot is being a booger. Not really sure why that's chattering all up in there. It ought to go. Everything else is going pretty easy. I'm not going to sit there and beat on the same spot that's not wanting to cooperate. Kind of work my way around to it from a different angle. That blew some of it off that came around from the back side. There may be something in this rock right here that's causing that, one of those little fossils or something we're talking about. It's like a hard knot right there. Some kind of inclusion or something. Matter of fact, I don't know if you can see it, see that white right there? It's probably some kind of little fossil or something embedded in there, and that's why that rock's chattering and it's not cooperating and doing right. You know, swapping these tips around too, especially when you're pressure flaking and stuff, really changes the amount of pressure you're putting in there. We got that little sucker that time. I don't know where it went. Anyway, we still got a little bit of chatter here, but whatever that white was, that shell or whatever that was in there that was causing those problems is gone now. But swapping down to a smaller tip can really increase the amount of pressure you put on a spot. I've noticed that when I'm using my little bitty edging tools and stuff. when I press in with a much smaller tip, you really increase the amount of pressure on that platform, and those platforms can give out on you with a pretty small tool a lot faster than they would give out on you when you have a bigger tool, or tool tip, I should say. Wes just got here. The kids are fixing to get off, so it's fixing to get noisy, so I'm going to stop here and we'll pick it up again. We'll take one more flake right here. Got it. Alright, we'll pick that back up in a little bit.